Bad week for the Bidens. I'm Kevin Cirilli. It's time for the Daily Debrief. Let's get right to it. The House is set to formalize their impeachment inquiry next week against President Biden. And Biden's son Hunter got indicted earlier on 9 tax charges in California. Let's dive into the court docs. Hunter's charged with 3 felony tax charges, 6 misdemeanor tax charges, and he faces up to 17 years behind bars. And don't forget about the 3 federal gun charges in Delaware brought against Hunter earlier this year. On those charges alone, he could get 25 years in jail. Prosecutors wrote last night in a press release, quote, Hunter Biden engaged in a 4-year scheme in which he chose not to pay at least $1.4 million in self-assessed federal taxes that he owed for tax years 2016 through 2019. Court filings say he made $7 million between 2016 and 2020. Hunter's attorney dismissed the charges, saying if Hunter's last name was anything other than Biden, the charges in Delaware and now California would not have been brought. Looks like Republicans will try to remove President Biden from office next year. Here with the latest is The Hill's Brett Samuels. Brett, will it work?
That's the big question, Kevin. I think all eyes will basically be on these moderate Republicans in the House who are going to be facing difficult re-elections next year. The question is whether they will go along with this. Obviously, folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene and sort of the right wing of the party will. But regardless of whether it works in the House, it's not going anywhere in the Senate, which is controlled by Democrats.
Will moderate Democrats be under pressure?
I would be surprised if we see many moderate Democrats really even entertain this. I think there's sort of scant evidence that President Biden has actually, acted corruptly based on his son's financial dealings. Democrats are pretty willing to say that out loud. So it would be a surprise, I think, to many people if we see even Democrats facing tough re-election battles next year entertain the possibility of impeaching a president of their own party.
The White House has said that the Hunter Biden laptop, Hunter Biden was a big nothing burger. Now he's facing a second indictment. What are they saying now?
The White House will essentially tell you nothing about this because they don't want to weigh in on it. They'll say that the president loves his son, that he's proud of his son for getting help with his substance abuse issues. But putting all that aside, frankly, it's not ideal. It's not what the White House wants. They're looking at the president's son essentially being in the headlines for his legal problems during an election year. So it's not what the White House wants to see. And I'm guessing we'll see them essentially keep their distance from this as best they can.
All right, Brett, switching gears. Trump told Sean Hannity that he will not be a dictator, quote, other than day one, end quote. The left is pouncing.
You're right, they are, Kevin. They're essentially saying, this is cause for alarm. Trump is not even bothering to hide sort of his intentions to lean into an authoritarian style of leadership if he's reelected. They're basically, President Biden said this himself, that Trump is making no bones about it. He's telling us who he is. Now, Trump and his team are essentially saying, this is just throwing it in the face of the left to get a rise out of them. But what we're hearing from Democrats is, sound the alarm. This is what we're looking for if Trump is elected in 2024.
All right, come back next week and give us the breakers. Thank you to Brett Samuels. He eats, sleeps, and breathes these stories. Thank you, Brett. And now on to our weekly rewind of this week's top stories. McCarthy's out, and a look back at the GOP presidential clash of the Titans. House Republicans are set to vote on formalizing an impeachment inquiry against President Biden for his business dealings as early as next week. Meanwhile, the president's son, Hunter Biden, has been indicted on 9 tax charges in California. Congressional leadership is hoping to pass a supplemental aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan as early as next week, but lawmakers remain gridlocked on funding for the U.S. border. Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis threw jabs at the News Nation Republican presidential debate as the 2 presidential candidates are locked in a close race for second place behind frontrunner Donald Trump.
I never said government should go and require anyone's name.
That's false. She said, I want your name.
She
as President of the United States, her first day in office, she said, one of the first things I'm going to do,
I said we were going to get the millions
I want your
of
name.
She wants
government
ID to dox every American.
That's what she said. You can roll the tape.
The presidents of Harvard, MIT, and UPenn are coming under fire for their testimony before a House committee hearing.
What action has been taken against students who are harassing and calling for the genocide of Jews on Harvard's campus?
I can assure you we have robust
What actions have been taken? I'm not asking.
Actions underway.
I'm asking what actions have been taken against those students.
Given students' rights to privacy and our obligations under FERPA, I will not say more about any specific cases other than to reiterate that processes are ongoing.
Since the hearing, university donors, Republicans, and Democrats like Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and Democratic Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro have called on them to resign. President Biden is wiping out $4.8 billion of student loan debt for more than 80,000 Americans. Billionaire Elon Musk is growing richer by the day. Musk's company SpaceX is looking to sell shares that value the company at $175 billion. Kevin McCarthy is throwing in the towel. The California Republican who lost his job as Speaker in October said that he is not running for re-election. Apparently, the problem isn't her. Taylor Swift has been named the Time Person of the Year. Swift also is making history by being the first woman to appear twice on a Person of the Year cover since the franchise began in 1927. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Hill's YouTube channel and comment, because I actually do read the comments. And in fact, it's time for this new segment that we're calling I Actually Do Read the Comments. I've got some comments right here. At Truth24434, didn't McCarthy try to implement term limits and other such public wanted policies on his way out? Question mark. No, he didn't. He did make a deal with privately behind closed doors based on my reporting with some Republicans, including Congressman Norman, who have been pushing for there to be term limits in Congress. But ultimately, that piece of legislation never made it out of committee. So again, one of the many reasons why the right was very frustrated with Kevin McCarthy and they ultimately ousted him. Great question. At NoFreeSpeech-BW9GD. Why is this guy yelling? Because I'm loud. I grew up outside of Philly in Delaware County. I'm an Irish-Italian Catholic, and I'm an Eagles fan. What does that mean? I'm loud. And if you watched the Philadelphia Eagles last week, you would know that I was actually screaming at my television because Nick Sirianni did not make the proper play calls. I'm not a biased reporter, but I will stand hard for the Philadelphia Eagles. Last question this week. At StepMac8994. Wow, this dude did not mention Vivek once, not even his sign. It was a gimmick. I mean, it was a gimmick. It's nothing against politics, nothing against policies. I would love to have Vivek on the show. We'll interview him. We'll do it fair. But a gimmick's a gimmick. You know, I'm not going to, what do you want me to do? You want me to write something down right now and hold it up? I'm not going to do it. You guys see through it. All right. Well, again, be sure to like, comment, and share. I will engage. And thank you for watching. Joining me now are two Washington insiders, Democratic strategist Adam Green, who is always talking to Senator Elizabeth Warren, and Republican strategist Teresa Morgenstern, who is always talking to everybody in Trump world. She used to work for former President Donald Trump. Thank you both for being here. Adam, rough week for the Bidens. Will moderate Dems vote to impeach?
Hell no. They see Republicans on the side of the road digging themselves into a ditch. Why would they jump in? You know, unlike the impeachment of President Trump, which had merit, they see this as a political stunt, and they see a Republican Party wedded to extremism and incapable of addressing the problems of the American people, like rising gas and grocery prices. So no moderate or other Democrat will be voting for a political stunt impeachment.
Teresa, historically, impeachment hurts the party who is impeaching. Will GOP lose the House in 2024?
Well, to Adam's point, the Democrats did exactly that, and it was a political stunt against President Trump. I do think an impeachment trial would be a distraction for the GOP. They do need to focus on keeping him the majority. So to do that, they need to actually deliver for the American people. So it's securing our border, supporting our friend Israel in the Middle East, and much more.
Tucker Carlson says God would have to yell very loud to him to be Trump's running mate. Teresa, is God screaming at Tucker Carlson?
I don't think so. I think Tucker is sitting really pretty right now where he's at with his new X/Twitter show.
Adam Green, Charlamagne the God, calls on Joe Biden to drop out of the race. Should Biden listen to the God?
He should listen in the respect of he should do more to appeal to black voters. That's fair. And the thing is that the Biden economic agenda does appeal to black voters if they hear it. So we've actually been very closely talking to the White House about how can we break through more on things like lowering drug prices, lowering grocery prices, et cetera. And on that point, I think he has a fair point. But it's not about Biden being in or out. It's more about, do we break through with our message?
Today's jobs day, the U.S. added 199,000 jobs in November. Unemployment 3.7%. Adam Green, do AOC and the Warren wing think that Bidenomics is working?
AOC, the Warren wing, and the lion's share of the American people love Bidenomics when they hear about it. We've done the polling on this. The unfortunate truth, though, is that when people hear about Democrats protecting Social Security, lowering drug prices, trying to reduce the price of childcare. They're like, oh, I had never heard about that before. So yeah, everybody loves it. The problem is we need to talk more about it.
All right, final question, yes or no, before I let you go. Teresa, you're first. Asa, Israel, Taiwan, Ukraine border. Should lawmakers leave town if they don't have a deal?
No.
No.
We'll leave it there. Thank you both so much, Washington Insiders, for joining us on this week's Debrief. Biden is stepping on the gas on his infrastructure plan, specifically on high-speed rail. He's set to announce billions, 8.2 to be exact, in funding for the construction of 10 passenger rail projects, including a high-speed rail system connecting California and Las Vegas. The plan will include $3 billion to build out a 218-mile stretch of rail between Las Vegas and Rancho Cucamonga, California. $1.1 billion will be allocated to the southeast corridor of the U.S. from Raleigh to Wake Forest, North Carolina, and $729 million will go to a project connecting Washington, D.C. and Richmond. It's here, Pantone's 2024 Color of the Year. And full disclosure, I was today years old when I learned that this was actually a thing. All right, close your eyes, take a deep breath, relax, and envision a color that Pantone's officials describe as, quote, gentle and cozy and meant to invoke warmth and elegance. What comes to mind? Is it, let me know in the comments, what do you think? According to Pantone, it's peach fuzz. Peach fuzz is the color of coziness. Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson have each rocked this color on the red carpet. I am not cool enough to wear peach fuzz. I do not think anyone wants to see me in a peach fuzz suit. Pantone officials said that peach fuzz is a, quote, shade that resonates with compassion, offers tactile embrace, and effortlessly bridges the youthful with the timeless. Past colors included 2023's Viva Magenta and 2022 Very Perry, and in 2021 it was gray. Gray was 2021, the year after the pandemic. All right, I have officially become a color snob. And that's it for today's Daily Debrief. I'm Kevin Cirilli. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Hill's YouTube channel, and come back right here soon for the intersection between politics and policy.